Whoa. Okay, team, we're having a big issue. There's a fly in this room. It's not good. I don't know how I didn't notice this before I started, but there's a fly in the room. Oh no. Oh no, there's a fly, and it's driving me crazy. It's good to have you. Levi Allen here. Welcome to a Leftcoast live stream. It's 7:55 on a Monday night. What a good time to be alive. I'm excited to be alive, and I sat down here honestly about an hour and a half ago, meaning to edit. Today's been a bit of a struggle, and I thought I would explain where I've been. To get to the chase real quick, I've been sick, and that's why I might sound a touch nasally. I'm trying to hide it right now, but if I sniffle through my nose, if I get a little sniffly, it's my fault, because I have a cold, and I'm sorry. I don't like it when other people sniffle, and I might be doing a little bit of sniffling over here. I'll try to keep it to a minimum, but we've got a different angle going on here. I didn't clean it up for you guys today, so you can see my little desk going on in the background. And I thought it'd be fun to stream for a little bit, not knowing what would happen. This is a free-for-all, basically, guys. Hopefully we'll arrive at a sweet topic to talk about, and I won't waste your time here tonight, but it's really cool seeing tons of you around here. I really enjoy this process, and I'm going to invest into a better live streaming setup where it's not just using the FaceTime camera off my iMac, but hopefully the sound is great. I'm so used to reading off a list of names as I start a live stream, and it's hard to keep up these days. There's a ton of you in here. Everlanders, great to see you guys. Switchback Events, Creative Income, Viron, Charlie, Ashton, Visual Charlie, Matthew Jeniskins. I don't know why I thought I needed to read last names. My last name is the kind of last name that would really mess people over. My full last name, for those that actually, how long will it take my full last name to get chatted in the chat? So who knows my full last name? I'll be impressed by how long this takes. Greetings from Portland. Is this going to be a Q&A? Yeah. That's kind of what I'm hoping to be able to chat with you guys about, because I've had a rough week. I've had a really hard time getting videos out. I got sick, and then I went and shot some stuff with my wife. We shot some really cool stuff. I'll actually share some of that stuff with you. We got a tour of a 4x4 Sprinter van conversion, which I thought was pretty nifty. So that's the video that I'm working on editing that I really wanted to have up today, but I think it might, yeah, it's gonna have to wait till tomorrow because I'm a perfectionist and I want this video to be awesome. But I'll walk you through a little bit of I'll walk you through some footage from it. I've got the edit project opened up here over in my other window, and so I'm gonna walk you through some footage of it. There we go, Vanderquack. Yep, you guys are right. Sorry, I forgot to chuck it out there. Either Nick H right here is either just joking by chucking out Vandal Schmacker or something like that. Whatever you wrote there, Nick H. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I guess off the top, if you got some questions about anything going on, I'd happily chat with you guys about that. Oh man, it's so good seeing you here, the Tokyo Craftsman. I'm always impressed seeing you drop in from Tokyo. But apparently there's an Easter egg for me somewhere, and so that's what we're gonna start off looking for. Everlanders, I for some reason I can't remember your first names, but I've really been enjoying this channel because the level of craftsmanship on their build is mind-boggling. So we're gonna pull up this video here, and I'm gonna try to see what he's talking about. He said there's an Easter egg. I'm assuming I'm speaking to the male. Jeez, for some reason that link you sent me isn't working. Can you try pop in? That link did not work, and that doesn't fly well with me. I could possibly review some projects if you want. I could talk about sliders. Oh, I guess I've left this live stream. There's a shot of Tom here. So Janelle and I got to go visit Sprinter Van Conversion Company down in Bellingham. Really cool people. They're called Freedom Vans. Jason and Kara. Okay, Jason, could you hook me up with a link there? For some reason, the one you sent me, I'm having a hard time making it work. Porchfront Studios is asking, what do you think about the Final Cut Pro coloring? I like the coloring in Premiere. So, guys, this fly is nuts. This is not okay. Do you think if I murdered this fly on live stream, would my channel get banned? This is a struggle. I don't know where this fly came from. Yeah, we got to visit this really cool conversion company. I'm okay with the coloring in Final Cut Pro 10, but I definitely liked the stuff in Premiere a little better. But this is a sweet rig, guys. This is a 4x4. I believe the length of this van is 144. I think that's what's going on. And it was a pretty incredible build. I'm not going to lie. So this is the video that I'm really excitedly editing. It's got some incredible craftsmanship inside of it by Tom. It's a bit of a simple setup, but it's executed pretty brilliantly. This, I think I've got a shot here that shows what's going on a little better. But it's like fully insulated, so all the stuff that's in their stock when you buy it from Mercedes is pulled out, and then they insulated the whole thing. Yeah, this angle here shows it great. So we'll kind of pause in right here for a moment, and I'll try to point some things out. So obviously all this cabinetry is like handcrafted woodworking, which is you can't send the whole link. Can you send it after the watch? So from YouTube onwards. So if I put in YouTube, like what would be the portion of the link after YouTube? Because I tried to chuck in. Sorry, I'm just trying to load up a video here, guys. Just watch something fun, you know. But yeah, this build is incredible because they stripped everything out, insulated it properly, like they do an incredible insulation job over at Freedom Vans, and then they handcrafted this gorgeous wood cabinetry, a pine tongue and groove ceiling. It's got a lithium battery bank going on. I believe it's got 2 lithium cells, the LifePo 4 cells, and this right here is a custom. Well, obviously it's custom. This right here is a slot to hold a 10-foot kayak, basically. That's what the customer wanted. They do all custom builds. Yeah, did I end up getting a dashboard cam for my new car? I actually haven't yet, which is probably a problem. So I should probably fix that. How do you manage your time between shooting, editing, learning, and relaxing? How do you overcome procrastination? I've been thinking about shooting a video about procrastination. especially as someone that creates things regularly, it's a big part of my existence, and oftentimes it's kind of like a love-hate relationship. And I've learned a few things in the past 5 years, but yeah, procrastination, that would be a really interesting one to try tackle in a YouTube video. I would be interested to I think there'd be some helpful things I could say for people that are struggling, as far as like really struggling with making things. But at the same time, like I'm full in a procrastinator. Like I struggle with this is like my weekly deal, my daily deal. Oh, I think I know what I did wrong with the link. And I'm obviously a very ADD person as well, which is beautiful. It just makes live streams interesting. Okay. It says the video is unavailable. What am I doing wrong? Was it in Raspberry Pi part 1 or part 2? And then I'll just go to that section of the video. How about that? Now I'm just wasting time because I'm messing it up. How do you overcome procrastination? For me, it's an interesting relationship that's hard to put words to, because I often reach a state of self-loathing that for me ends up being helpful. So I enter into a state of being disappointed thoroughly with myself, and that's what helps me accomplish a state of accomplishing things. Guys, I've been on cold medicine all week, so I'm in a good place right now. But procrastination, it has multiple levels for me. There's kind of the productivity stuff that I try to implement in my life so I can actually accomplish more, and then there's also the state and approach that I try to have towards the work that I do, and also just saying no to stuff and kind of my approach to that. So do I find the balance hard? I think that's kind of the original question that was being asked, like how do I balance it? How do you manage your time between shooting, editing, learning, and relaxing? I'm in a time right now where I'm doing a lot more editing, and so it's been hard. So how do I balance it? I don't know. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. I'm amazed at I mean, I don't mean to bring Casey Neistat up, but I'm amazed at how many videos he put out back to back daily. That just blows my mind, because sometimes I'll spend a full day on a video for YouTube. That's making me no money, and I'm just stoked to make it. But I'll spend a whole day editing the thing. I might have spent I think I spent a whole day on the desk video, and I'm just I'm so impressed by guys like Casey, who managed to make videos of that level daily, and that level like more interesting than what I did. Yeah, it kind of blows my mind. So maybe I will make a full video about procrastination at some point and try to distill the thoughts to what's actually helpful instead of just these elusive terms. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm pulling it off. I'm gonna pull up this video. It's gonna be great. I want to see the Easter egg. I'm a sucker for Easter eggs. I could also, maybe we could turn this this session into maybe I could review some of your videos or something like that. Okay, here we go. I did watch the video, so I'm surprised that I missed it. Maybe, do I need audio to hear? I probably need audio to hear. Let's pipe this through the headphones, Let's get this going through the headphones. I guess maybe I shouldn't, so that way you can hear it. Maybe I'll just leave it. Let's see what's going on here. I think you said did I get the time frame wrong? Oh my gosh, I'm the worst. I am the worst. For all those tuning in, they're like, wow, this is going to be great. And I'm just wasting your time. I'm sorry. No. I won't waste your time. It's going to be awesome. Here we go. So this is, again, the Everlanders channel with Jason and Kara. Their rig is phenomenal. There we go. There's me. Sweet. I love that's a great Easter egg. What was I doing as I was watching this video where I missed that? Because again, as you can see how distractible I am right here. I am a distracted person in life. And so when I watch videos, sometimes I do other things at the same time and I listen. Okay, guys. Do you want to see more of that 4x4 van build, or should we keep it for tomorrow? Otherwise, I'm happy to hop into some questions here and try to not waste some of your time. Are you going to do salts this summer? I don't think so. I've got other plans. As far as on a formal level, I'm not doing a trip video for them this summer, so I'm not hired by them to do a trip. There's always still a possibility that would come together. At this time last year, I didn't know I was going to be making new promo videos for them, so even that came together that fast. Your slider, how often do you use it? I don't use sliders for video much at all anymore. I almost only use it for interviews and motion control. So I don't use a slider for live video almost at all anymore because the dual image stabilization is just so good. Hey, I'm a maker. Levi recommended it a while back as a good budget solution. I'm a maker. He's responding to someone else's question. I'm a maker. Which one's I'm a maker that asked a question? Well, it's probably a good thing. Just curious of your preference of iPad Pro plus iPad Pro instead of a MacBook Pro. Are you saying why do I have a MacBook Pro and an iPad Pro? You can't edit videos on an iPad. That's why. And I use my MacBook Pro for offloading footage in the field right now. And so you need those USB card slots, and you need to be able to connect hard drives, and I edit on it. My iPad Pro I mainly use for productivity, so I have limited numbers of apps on it, and I just try to use it for making things and managing productions. And I love the pencil on the screen. Oh my gosh, so cool. Any plans to come to the Toronto area? I would love to. Coming to the Toronto area would be great. There's a few creators that are over there that would be fun to meet. Yeah, I don't know when I'll come to Toronto. I don't do my own travel in the sense where I don't often just like decide I want to go someplace and pay to go there. Often what brings me someplace is there's a client who wants me to do something in that location, and then I'll often try to stay a day or two because I do video work for clients. Jason's asking, Ronin S, Crane 2, or monopod. If you don't have a monopod yet, that's a really good option because you can mimic slider-like shots. Do I have mine around? I don't. Yeah, it's back there. I've got this tripod here. Let me grab it. I've got this tripod from Benro. And one of the legs comes off and becomes a monopod. Bam. This is so great. So what I'll do with this thing here is I'll take this foot off, and I've modified. Guys, we're going full into it. I'm gonna do this right now. Just watch. I believe the leg for this thing is in this case of goodness. Oh, geez, what have I done? Did I jam the zipper? What the heck? Guys, help. No. It's not even in here. Ah. Where is that thing? Oh no. It's okay. It's okay. Life will go on. Life will go on. Where did I keep hitting my head on? I've got a microphone right here. I keep hitting my head on it. Anyhow. Okay, that was a fail. But basically this leg, I'll attach a base to it so that way it's like one of the video bases. And with a monopod like this, I can get shots that look very similar to a slider. And so often I'll put the camera on top of the video head and I'll do these like push-in shots like that. And I really like that. And the monopod is very helpful. And I'll oftentimes prop it off my body as I'm shooting stuff. So monopods, I recommend if you do not have one. It's hard to say if I recommend the Ronin S over the, was that Ronin S or Ronin M? I didn't know if there was a Ronin. Is the Ronin S the new single-handed one? I haven't used that one yet, but DJI is so good at making good stabilizers. So I'm sure they've got a home run there, even though I really do like the Crane 2. Wondering when you're going to come to film Southeast Alaska. Is that where you're from, Amy? Because my wife and I are hopefully going there this summer. This summer, as in August or maybe the following year. Yes, so that answers the van trips questions. Any van trips that aren't worked this summer? Yes, definitely. That's the big plan. I'm going to be doing a massive conversion on my own van. Maybe that's a good segue into showing more of this build going on. But my wife and I are putting in the plans, saving up the cash, and going to convert our van round 2. Again, I made a video. Did I make a video? Where did I post something? I asked for van. I asked on how I straight piped the Sprinter van. I asked, does anybody have ideas for what to call the van conversion series? Like, do I just call it the van build? Do I just have it be a continuation of Leftcoast Life? What do you think about that? What should I call the series of van conversion videos? Or do I just make the whole project a series and then we go to Alaska and that's all part of the series? I don't know, guys. But here's Janelle and I inside of Florence right here. Let me pull this up. So this is inside of Florence. And so I often try to hide the angles. But, I mean, it's not a very beautiful conversion by any stretch of imagination. And we got to visit this van conversion company out of Bellingham, which does some very beautiful work. So this is an interior of a Ford Transit here. And again, it's fully insulated, beautiful wood, accents and highlights everywhere. This is a really simple, clean build for one of their clients. This is the inside of their personal van. They went with kind of a darker fabric vibe. Janelle and I will probably stick into the wood vibe. Yeah. What's going on here? But again, you guys can keep dropping in questions. I'll keep answering them. I think I'll talk a little bit about our van project here. Van life clickbait. Yeah. Oh, geez. Sorry. I meant to mute the microphone there. I don't know what happened. I think I dropped the ball on that one. I'm sorry if I coughed into your ears. Dollar for dollar, a nice monopod with a fluid head is 1/3 to 1/2 of a Crane 2. Yeah. And a Crane 2 would be great for now. The reality is it won't like the original monopod I bought lasted me 6 to 7 years. And I would be hard pressed to seeing a Crane last that long just because of the tech. So I would probably go monopod first, but then again, stabilizers are so much fun. So yeah, I'd say just keep the van conversion stuff inside your normal Leftcoast channel. Oh yeah. So yeah, let me clarify. It's definitely cough ASMR. Sorry. It's definitely going to stay on the channel. It's going to be a part of the regular stream of content. But right now I call the vlogs Leftcoast Life, and we're at episode like 195 or something like that. And if I do a project like the one I just posted of me straight piping the Sprinter van, maybe that doesn't deserve or merit a full Leftcoast Life episode. I don't know. I was just trying to think of what to call the conversion series. Maybe I'll just call it the Van Build Part 2 or Van Build 2.0. Maybe that will be what I call it. For those that weren't here at the beginning of this live stream, the reason why I haven't posted in this past week, actually it was my birthday yesterday. That's not the reason, but I just remembered. I turned 24 yesterday. I should have made you guys guess how old I was. Dang it, I just ruined that chance. So I turned 24 yesterday, spent time hanging out with family and friends, which is super cool. Yeah. But the week previous, I've just been battling with a cold. I've got Halls inside of my mouth right now. And yeah, it's been a rough week. I've really wanted to get a video out since this straight piping the Sprinter van exhaust video. Duarden Sierra, Levi, I just have to say you're a hero. Can't wait to attend your seminar in Calgary next week. You're coming? That's great. This is a mind-blowing story. At my talk I gave on Saturday, March 3rd, I talked about that on a live stream that it was going to happen basically, and someone flew down. Someone flew down from Fort St. John's to come to and hang out in Vancouver for the day and attend the talk and hang out and meet, which was so cool. That's never happened to me before. You said you were 23 last time. Right. Yep. And I turned 24. Happy birthday. Thanks, guys. Wow. Some really nice things. But hey, you could upload separate vids of the conversion bits as you go along. Allows you to upload more frequently. Oh, totally. Yeah. My goal upload rate is about 3 a week. And this past week, I've dropped the ball on that. It was just 1. I'd like to upload more than that. Yeah, the plan would be to make some videos that are more tutorial specific. So it would be like, this is how I installed my S-Bar D2 heater. And, you know, that's something that I'd like to make very tutorial specific, because people get mad. They don't really like it when you title something like a how-to video and then you include it inside of a regular vlog, which I can understand. Yeah. Yeah. Wolvenwood Studio. How long did it take you to get comfortable with client contracts? I'm going to cough right here. I think the mic's off. No, it's still on. What? You can still hear it. What's going on? Stop. Maybe I just need to shrink it. Oh man, I wonder how long we've been streaming already for. Oh my gosh, somehow this goes by so quick. I need to keep more on the point. It took me a little while to get comfortable with client projects, but it's this process I call the ladder. You do a project at the level that you're qualified to do, and you complete it beyond what you think the client would expect. So your first project, let's say you get paid a couple $100 to do a video, but you just work so hard and you knock it out of the park and you make it a video that's worth $1,000. And then now that that's the level of video that you've released, so the next client project you get, you showcase them the $1,000 video that you're capable of producing, and they go, wow, we want that video as well. You know, at that time, because you've pulled off a $1,000 looking video, you could do something better and you want to get charged more, but it's hard to prove to them that worth because you've only done something at the lower level. So what I did when I was starting out is got my first paid gig in the hundreds of dollars range. And then when I completed that project, I did it as if it was $1,000 project. And then someone saw that video. And eventually I was in conversations for the next project and I charged them around $1,000. And when I did the $1,000 video, I worked on it really hard and did it as if it was a $1,500 video. And each video that I did, I would complete it better than what I was getting paid to do it. So that way, every time I was done a project, I had something better to show. Someone's not going to pay thousands of dollars to make a video if the work that you have out so far isn't at that level. And a big thing that I'm a huge fan of is making videos for businesses that actually can use the video. It's hard to convince a business to spend money on a professionally made video if they don't stand to gain monetarily from it. And if they don't know how to use video in their business, it's going to be really hard to convince them that spending their money on that's worthwhile. And that's how I progressed up getting comfortable with, I was always ever I was always comfortable to deliver what I promised I could, but then I would over deliver. And so I would go into those conversations just so confident because I knew, look, I'm getting them to commit to a $2,000 video, but we both know I'm just going to knock this thing out of the park. And that's kind of my process there. Hopefully that helps you understand how it took me. How long did it take? That process occurred over a series of years. I started freelance producing videos for people in about 2011, and my first $10,000 project would have been last calendar year. So the first video that was like a $10,000 video. So it took me probably about 3 years to get to this stage where the projects I was producing were the types of things that I had envisioned in my head when I started. And obviously that scale keeps ramping up as you go. So now if I picture what type of videos I'd love to make for clients, I picture something that's more. Are you coming to Victoria anytime soon? I don't think so. Usually when I come to Victoria, it's super last minute. It's usually to meet with some friends that we have over there or some last minute thing. Coming back to Sioux Lookout? Nope. Not this year. Maybe next year. I don't actually know the answer to that. My sister-in-law is actually visiting right now from Sioux Lookout. Yeah, Jason, if you're still hanging around, it'd be great to have you in Calgary, but I totally understand that flying is not reasonable for most people. So that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I'm happy. Okay, here's an idea for you guys. For those of you out there that want to level up your production companies, I've been toying with a type of webcast I could make. I've been toying with two things. I could make one that's like supercharge your business. Maybe that's what I would call it. But I could make a series of 25 half-hour lectures with PDFs and example contracts on how to build a video production business purely from a interaction with client standpoint. So I wouldn't necessarily dive into the production side of things. I'd mainly target how do you find businesses to work with and get paid more. But that would take me a lot of time to make. But if that's something that some of you would be interested in, I'm trying to bounce some ideas around that. So keep your ears and eyes peeled because I might, if you're not on the email list, go to leftcoast.co/learn, and I'll probably email about it there first. But yeah, I might try to make a product around that. And then as well as selling like a supercharge, kickstart your business type thing, I would do free stuff along with that. So you don't have to worry. Like if you want the quick free stuff, I'll do some hour-long sessions, I think. And that might be something I try to launch at the end of April, if you're curious in that. Anyhow. Did the minimalism video get that many views because it says minimalism? I don't know why it got that many views, to be honest. And part of me feels a little bad now because so many people are finding it and they're really annoyed. And I didn't mean for that. I didn't mean to pull a full clickbait like that. I thought the clickbait was sort of relevant, and it's a little tongue in cheek, obviously, where I'm saying the truth about minimalist YouTubers. And the truth is what I did in the video is the truth. They just chuck minimalism in the title. But I don't think it's because minimalism is in the title that it performs so well. I think my audience, when I put that video out originally, watched most of that video all the way through. And I think YouTube acknowledged that and they decided that it was worthwhile. So somehow along the way, the magic YouTube algorithm decided to make the video pop up for other people. Yeah. Is your podcast thing still concept? I guess so. The problem is producing. So for those that don't know, I've been meaning to create a podcast where I wouldn't just do interviews would be really hard to schedule. And so I'd eventually start to hate the fact that I was doing that type of podcast because it would take a lot of time. And I don't have time for that right now. But I thought it'd be fun to do a podcast where they're about 25 minutes each. And it's essentially me in a format similar to this, where I'm talking through concepts of how I built my business and also how I've approached making my own films and how I paid for them. I thought that might be kind of interesting, but I've not done it because I'm worried that people will just feel like it needs to be super prepped or something like that, and I want it to be perfect type of thing in my head. I have this sense that people wouldn't enjoy just listening to a monologue, and that's the tough part. So that's the update on the podcast. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do it soon. Grim, Levi, how old are you? I'm 24. Lots of people talk about the tech side of it. No one talks about the business side. I think there's a lot of us freelance production companies owners that would love that. Yeah. And that the most difficult part about starting to speak out about business is it's kind of like money in the sense where if you have opinions, people get frustrated with you, and it's inevitably one of those things that I have a lot of strong opinions about as far as my approach towards building a client-based business. And so it's tough to start creating videos around it because that's actually not the reason. Now, I take that all back. Yes, people have opinions, but I don't really care what people's opinions are because I have my own opinions that I've arrived at from years of reading books and asking for advice. So I'm totally comfortable throwing my 2 cents into the mix, and I should do that. I'm just lazy. Your latter idea is exactly how I built my carpentry business. Started with minor home repairs, and now I do whole house renovations. Yeah, you have to think about this from the client perspective, especially. So I do coaching calls on Skype. I turned it off on my website for now because I was getting too many requests and I have to manage it. But I've done coaching calls with people that are trying to build client-based businesses. And one of the struggles is off the top, it's like, how do you get paid for your first thing? And you have to show an example of work that would be capable of making a business income. It'd be capable of bringing a return to a business. Because making videos that make businesses money is why you'd make them the video and get paid to do it. And it's not very much fun to continually make videos that you spend weeks on and only get paid barely enough to cover the expenses. That's really frustrating. So as a person who wants to make great videos, your goal should be to figure out, how do I make something, how do I get in front of the right types of businesses that would value the craft that I could offer them and actually know how to utilize it. And that's the struggle of a video person. You got to get, there's so many types of clients out there that exist, and you want to get inside, you want to get in front of the right ones. And you need to do that by showcasing the type of work that they would hire. And that's a process. Sorry for the little rant there, but come back to New York City and let Craig Adams be your warm-up act for in real life workshop. Yeah, I have no problems doing in-person workshops. I'm still prepping my own way to teach the type of filmmaking that I do, and I'm going to experiment with that more on YouTube first. But I've done now several workshops, oftentimes with smaller groups of people. I just did a coaching session last week with a group out in Chilliwack in the Fraser Valley here. We did 2 mornings together, and I walked them through how to make better videos, and it went really well, I think. I'll have to see how that works out for them. Do you think there is more of a market for content marketing as a filmmaker rather than traditional filmmaking promotional films? No. Well, it is if you want to be just kind of like a Swiss Army knife type of person where it's like you just offer general marketing services. But I think in the content marketing side of filmmaking, that's the world where people want to exchange product for service. Like, hey, we'll give you this thing if you make a video about it. And that world is very hard to get those people to pay you money to make stuff. So I would not say those are like the ideal kind of client. So how do you market to get new clients right now? I'm actually not marketing to get new clients right now. I'm actually trying to dial back client work. So if a client finds me right now, it's probably because they've seen another video that I've done and they've liked it and they've seen and they've thought, oh, hey, maybe we could get him to do something like that for our business. I get a couple emails a week. Some weeks I don't get any, but I guess a couple emails a month from people that are like, hey, I've got this idea. Like, can you help me make a video about it? And oftentimes I can tell pretty quick it's not the right fit for the type of work I want to be doing. And so we don't go any further than that. But then occasionally, so right now I'm in discussions with 2 or so companies that we're trying to figure out if it's going to be a good fit for me to make them a video. And that discussion, what I'm trying to figure out is, because right now the types of videos that I'd like to be making are in the outdoor space, have an adventure component, and they see value in the level of storytelling that I like to do. So I value doing documentary style productions, and if they can use that to make money for their business, that often means they can justify spending lots of money on it. And that's the goal, because doing production costs a lot. And that's one thing that I've realized, the amount of time everything takes, it takes a long time. And all the gear is really expensive. So you need to be charging enough to be covering all of that. And running your own business is very expensive. Insurance is expensive. Doing taxes is expensive. Paying yourself is expensive. Paying for your own health benefits is expensive. And when you deduce it down to, oh, I got paid $800 to do a video, and it took me 2 days to shoot it and 5 days to edit it. And then if you total up all those hours and divided it, and you're like, yeah, that's not a bad hourly wage or something like that. Like, I made $15 to $20 an hour. That's great. Problem is taxes, health benefits, gear. So you got to start somewhere, but getting to a place where you're charging, it's hard to make money as a production company shooting for less than $500 a day. It's really, really hard. It's really hard to make that sustainable. So in the projects that I work on, I try to set it up where it's a no-brainer financially for me and for them. In that sense, where it's like they're in a position to invest, I'm in a position to create excellently, and it's a fair exchange where they want something amazing and I want to create them something amazing, here I am preaching about charging lots for projects, where meanwhile I still need to take that more seriously. But this is something that I'm pretty passionate about. I think a lot of video makers get themselves into traps where they don't have a correct perspective, or at least an accurate one, on how much it actually is worth to do what they're doing. And that means, that means bad, because then you end up doing better work for not enough money, and it dilutes the market, and you're left not feeling happy about it. At my day job, we had 3 full-time videographers. Awesome. Between a scale of 1 not important to 10 important, where would you place proper lighting for films? Are you talking narrative films? I'd put it as pretty important. If you're putting it on a scale of like, the first most important thing is story. Well, no duh. Second most important thing is, I don't know. So I don't know how I would do that scale. But if you're working on a narrative film, lighting's really important. So yeah, there's that. So young and doing so much stuff. Yep. Thanks. Yeah, as a creative and someone who hates selling things, I would love more advice on the business side. That's a good idea. If you had a GH5 with only one 12 to 60 lens, your recommendation for a second lens? That's real tough, because I really like the 12 to 35, which is kind of a similar coverage. So that's a really tough one. Shooting fashion indoor and outdoor. Maybe I'd get like a 25 mil 1.7, so you could get some nice depth of field going on. That's maybe what I'd do as my second lens. Kid Cisco, just found your channel a few days ago and have been loving your work. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that. Do you have any good books you can recommend about starting a business, dealing with money, being a good businessman? One of the great, there's a lot, and most of them I have a hard time recommending because there's certain things that I disagree with. That's kind of what you'll find in the business space. There's often a couple good principles in each book, and you can sit in their concepts and their philosophies and kind of decide which one you want to take away and apply to your own business. One of the books that I really appreciate is from my friend Sean McCabe. It's called Overlap. If you go to Overlap book, if you search that on Google, you will find it. And if you don't find it with Overlap book, then I'm a liar and I'm sorry. Add Sean West into that search and you'll find it. It's a really good book on the creative process of developing skills at a craft, but financially sustaining yourself through a day job as you morph into doing creative work as your job. And I appreciate Sean's philosophy on a lot of the things as far as not quitting your job immediately, that kind of thing. Hi, Left Coast. How are you? I'm doing great. I wanted a video out today super bad, and I dropped the ball, and so now I'm live streaming to feel better about myself and to hang out with you guys because I miss you. I was sick all last week. That's where I was. I'm sorry. Yeah. So that's how I am. Have you thought about, or do you use cinema lenses for your videos? Yeah, I use cinema lenses when I'm working on projects that merit it. I haven't bought any super expensive cinema lenses right now. I'll mainly just rent them when I need them. I think they're great. My kit right now is a Lumix kit, micro four thirds, so that way I have a nice small lens setup. That's what I love about the Lumix setup is I can basically fit a whole camera shooting package in a case this small. And I love that. I love the Rokinon lenses because they're super cheap and they're manual and they're great. So how do I feel about them? I think they're an awesome option for most people. They've got some quirky stuff if you're working in professional production. They aren't professional in the sense that they aren't what you'd use. They've got quirks, but for people like me and you, they do great. Zoom H1 or Rode VideoMic Go. Only have budget for one. I would do the Rode VideoMic Go and put it on top of your camera. Yep. Where do you rent gear? There's honestly, when I normally rent gear, I do it from other production companies that I know. That's normally what I do. There's a few companies that are around that you can rent from. There's Lens Pro to Go, which is an online rental place. I recommend them just because it's super convenient and they got good prices. There's often local rental houses in almost any city. Yeah. So there's a few. I know, Nate, you're in Coquitlam. There's a few that are, I can't even remember the names of them right now. Fusion Cine, they rent. I don't rent terribly often, but sometimes I do. Okay, my friends, I'll take a few more questions here. I guess I could show you some of this. Do you want to see some of this Sprinter build? Hey, Dan, what's up? Remind me of the backpack you were using in New York City. I'm looking for one. Well, you're in luck. They're called Shimoda Designs, and they are the single best adventure camera bags that exist right now. And that's for several reasons. Let me grab mine. Oh, geez. So this right here is the Shimoda 40 liter. And what's fantastic about Shimoda bags is your average camera bag, it doesn't have the support that you'd expect from a bag that's meant to carry weight. It's often, you regret the Rode VideoMic. Is that, okay, so I guess I'll touch on the mic real quick, Dan, and then I'll continue with bags. So where's my Rode VideoMic? Mine is somewhere. I don't have to have it with me to tell you what I'm going to tell you. The Rode VideoMic works best when it's within this much distance of you and it's on a vlogging camera. That's where it works really well. The Rode VideoMic Go, I believe it's called. Go. They also have a Rode Video Micro. Those two microphones I find work semi-okay in an outdoor environment because it has like a windscreen like this. So it comes with something like this, and that means if you're shooting without something like this, and you're trying to do your vlogging, you're going to get wind noise all across the top there. So if you had to pick between a Rode Video Mic Micro and a Zoom H1, the Zoom H1 doesn't have a windscreen on it automatically. So you can add one. It's got a foam one, but it doesn't work amazing. What I used to do is I'd attach the Zoom H1 in a shock mount on top of my camera with the furry windscreen that I made, and then directly do the mic port with a cable like this straight into the camera, turn it on, and get the levels set. If you're doing a video where you're like doing a talking head and you know you're going to record for like a 10-minute segment, having a lav from your shirt down into the Zoom H1 in your pocket is going to be your best option for getting great sound that way. But if you're running around and vlogging and you're using a camera like this and you want to hold the camera right here, you're going to have a lot of clips that you need to sync up in post if you're using the Zoom H1 with a lav on yourself. I almost never use a lav when I'm doing vlog stuff. I almost always use a mic like this. This is the VideoMic Pro Plus. It's got powered sound, and what that means is it boosts the audio levels at the mic. The Rode Video Micro and the VideoMic Go do not have that. I'm realizing now that you had asked earlier about the Rode Video Mic Go. I've never used that one actually. I've only used the Micro, which is their smaller, compact version of the Go. Okay, back to camera bags. So what sets these apart is it's a true climbing harness on a bag that's meant to hold weight. So from the starting point, you have something that is incredibly comfortable for a long period of time. And a bag like that, specialized for camera gear, there's not many that exist, just straight out of the gate. But what I love about this one is it's got some intentional thoughts that make it just special, you know? So for instance, this one, when you take the bag and set it down, it opens from the back panel. Instead of opening from this side to your main gear compartment, you set it down right here. So that way, when you set it down in the snow or in the mud and you put it back on your back, you don't suddenly have dirt that's getting on you. When you zip this open, you've got a camera insert right here where you can store all your stuff. It's in a very... It's late, guys. I'm losing all my adjectives. It's fine. Basically, the insert system here right now, these padded dividers are some of the best built. The normal foam ones that come with your average camera bag, I'm just really sick of because they like come apart. It's hard to describe, but the fabric isn't held on. So when you like move the Velcro stuff, it like moves the fabric. But these, the insert is all glued together. So it's one piece. So when you attach Velcro to another piece, it doesn't pull the fabric away. Like it's all part, like it doesn't, there's no fabric to be pulled away because they're actually built really, really well. And this is one of the skinnier inserts, so you can put two inserts in, have one to the side so that way you can access your gear out the side. These bags are amazing. They're called Shimoda bags. They're brilliant. Yeah. I could say so much about these bags. I could just go on and on and on. I love traveling with the roller. So this is the roller right here. Basically, you can put those inserts inside here. They fit perfectly, and you can carry your camera gear on in a roller bag. You can have your backpack just compressed. So that way when you're going through the airport with a ton of gear on your back. I also love shooting with this thing on set. So I'll open it up, get a lens, close it, zip it closed. It's really nice having a top open bag. They're an investment, but right now there's not a better option out there as far as bags that you actually want to use as a bag. And so there's a lot of really nice features. It's Shimoda. The Shimoda on their website, they've just started shipping all of the Kickstarter orders, and they've got their website set up for pre-orders, and I don't know when the pre-orders are shipping, but they should be shipping soon. A lot of my friends that went and bought these are getting them and are really happy. So that's my answer. I'm going to make a full video about these bags, actually. Yeah. Any ideas on discounted Kessler sliders? Like, do I have any leads? Like, sources to get them? I bought my first Kessler slider on Craigslist. Actually, that's not true. I bought it from another production company in town. Yeah. If you're getting one to use, 40 or 60. More for in-town shoots. The 40 is a really good looking bag. It just looks slick. I love it. The look on it's grown so much for me. The 60 I like because I can just store more in it. So if I had to pick only one, I'd go with 60 because you can hold more. Yep. Levi, I have a GH3 12-35 Mark II for future proofing. Or Mark 1 and Crane 2. I think, that's a tough one. If you're trying to save, you could find a Mark 1 used on Craigslist, hopefully for a good price. That's probably what I would do if I was in your shoes. Shimoda. Yeah. I hate those Velcro things. Yeah, me too, man. I'm not a big fan of Velcro, but the way that Ian has designed these ones is my favorite design by far. What portable hard drive would you recommend for video editing? I just go to Best Buy and buy the cheap ones. I don't edit off them. I just use them for backup. So this is a My Passport from Western Digital. Yeah. So for those that are stopping in here at the end of the stream, the reason why I've been non-existent for the past 6 days or so on YouTube is because I got sick. And I also celebrated my birthday. It sucks getting sick. I'm really frustrated because I've really wanted to be cranking out the videos on YouTube. So that's been tough, but I'm feeling a little better. And I really wanted to get a video out today, and I didn't, and that's okay. But there will be a video tomorrow. So many people are really excited for a video on my data workflow, and so I'm going to definitely work on getting that out there. I'm really excited to show you how I back up projects, because that's one of the things that was most confusing to me when I first started, was how do you manage data correctly? So I'll do that. Great to see you, Caleb. Thanks for stopping by, man. DSLR video shooter in the house, guys. Say hi if you guys are a watcher of what Caleb does. He does some of the most thorough camera reviews on gear that can actually be afforded by us mere mortals, which I really appreciate. I'm glad that there's someone out there doing such a thorough job, because the thoroughness around that is not something that I'm super adept at. But he makes guides for how to use cameras. So when people buy GH5s or things like that and they really want to know all the settings, Caleb's a good guy to check out. Caleb, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it down to NAB this year. A trip like that costs me quite a bit coming from Canada, and I've been trying to save up some of my cash, my money, for working on my Sprinter van, so that way we can go on some trips with my wife this summer. I'm trying to figure out how to get down there. I've bugged a few brands that I know to see if I can do any presentations for them or anything on the outdoor work I do, but we'll see what happens to that. And Curtis is hanging out. Everyone say hi to Curtis. I don't know why I'm calling out Curtis specifically. He's a BC boy as well. Well, he was up in BC, so he's not a true BC boy in the sense that he lives here right now. Yeah, but say hi to Curtis. Hey, Levi, I'm quitting my job to go full-time freelancing into videography. What is one piece of advice you feel I should hear? Don't quit your job. No, seriously. Your context is something that only you know true inside and out. So obviously I can't give you advice for quitting or keeping your job, but I strongly recommend when you're moving into video production as something that you want to get paid to do, it's helpful to have a side income so that way you're not forced to take projects that will inevitably end up killing your passion of making videos. That's just, most video businesses don't make it out of the first 2 years because they get into this loop of just taking on projects that they hate, and they just dig themselves into this hole, and they feel like they have to do it. And their reason that they'll say, because I talk to these people, is, I got to do it for the money. And that's a really tough place to start. Yes, you've got to make money if you're wanting to do it for work, but I recommend keeping some form of income so that way your decisions aren't purely based off stress. That's one of my biggest tips, because it takes, from my experience, it takes about 2 years to get to a state of client work of of trying to get into client, where it takes about 2 years to get to a place where you're getting enough leads regularly that you're happy with to really be at a place where you're like, yeah, I'm doing this. That's my experience. So that's my advice. I could dive into that for hours, but this is just a quick live stream. I got to step up my live stream game. And that's something that should happen. Right now, I'm just going off the FaceTime camera. I know that Caleb's got a pretty strong live stream game going on. So does Craig Adams and a few other people. So I got to step it up. How did you land your first gig that you're really proud of? This is, again, a philosophy that I have towards getting work that you actually want to get more of. Is I reached a point where I wasn't showcasing projects that I didn't want more of. For instance, if I helped a friend shoot a wedding, I wouldn't show that work. I would just do the work, get paid, and move on with my life. I would use my own time and money to make projects that I wanted to get paid to do. That's how I got to a place where I landed my first gig that I was proud of. Right now, I'm having a hard time picturing what was like one of the first ones that I was mind blown by. I was pretty fortunate early on in my freelancing career to have someone that noticed that I had an eye for shooting stuff and bring me along on some interesting trips. So right off the bat, I kind of got a little bit of I tasted blood. I got a satisfaction over doing a cool project that was outdoor related. And then after that, it was hard for me to get the next one that was like that, but I tasted what it was like. So I was so hungry. Yeah. So the first one I did would have been a while ago, but anyhow. Ever thought of starting a Patreon? No. Well, yes, I've thought about it for your film production supercharge idea. If I did make paid content, I would offer it as a course that you could just buy. Patreon is great, but the amount of effort so there's two ways of looking at Patreon as far as I can understand. You either use it for donations or you use it as access to premium content that is like an inside scoop or getting videos earlier, that kind of thing. And right now I'm focused on just trying to provide value on YouTube that I'm not capable of doing a great job at Patreon. And I honestly don't think many people would sign up for it. I think it's easy to say to someone, hey, just make a Patreon. Where in the reality, to do a Patreon really well, you got to do some work towards it. And right now, I don't want to put work towards a Patreon. If I did start a Patreon, it'd be like a donation thing. And I don't want donations right now. I want to make stuff that I can give people that if they want it, they would pay for it. That's what I want to do. I'm not above accepting donations, but I just, no. Yeah, anyhow. What's your favorite video you've made on your YouTube channel? That's a tough one. I first had Untethered on YouTube. So that's probably the one that I like. Obviously, that's the most proud one that I have, untetheredfilm.ca. I ended up putting that film to broadcast so I could no longer have it free on YouTube. But that would be the most proud I've been. I really like some of the ones that are just sentimental for me and my wife mainly. I have fun looking back at some of those ones. Always get paid when you work. Just work for someone else to build your reel. That's the man is sharing that thought. Yeah. I don't recommend if people reach out to you to do work and they want you to do it for free to say yes to that. If you're going to do a free project, I recommend that being something that's on your own terms. And what I mean by that is if there's this rad business that you're like, man, they do some really cool stuff, and I think I can make them a video that would be awesome. It doesn't often work to approach them and be like, hey, yo, you want to pay me to make a video? Especially if you don't have a good sales background and if you don't have examples of previous times you've been paid. So often, if I find myself in that circumstance, I'll approach them and I'll go, hey, I really like what you guys are up to. These are a few things that I really, really appreciate about what you do. Would you be willing to enter into my process of figuring out if there's a video I could make for you guys free of charge? Because I just really appreciate what you're doing and I think it'd be a lot of fun to work with you. That's a process that I've gone through before where I've approached businesses like that. We've ended up making something awesome because they are a great business. And then those videos I use to get more work. I don't recommend doing that very often. There should only be a couple times that you're doing that a year if that's something that you like doing. But that's the only time I ever do stuff for free. I just licensed my entire outdoor vlog back catalog. Have you explored that option? It was an unexpected surprise for me, but cool. I haven't licensed tons of my previous stuff except for when I'm specifically requested for certain footage. So oftentimes people will say, hey, I like this shot. We're working on this commercial. Can we use it? And then I'll go enter the process there. I don't have any of my footage on any kind of library right now. That might be a really smart idea for me to hire an intern to go through and catalog my stuff and put it on a footage licensing website. Yeah, so the Patreon stuff, like I've thought about this a lot. I'm fine. Like I have no judgments towards other people doing it. I think it's okay. From my perspective, if someone suggests to me, yo, dude, just start a Patreon. It'll work out great. Not saying that that's what any of you have suggested. But for me, it's just like, well, yeah, of course, that's an easy thing to say you should do because you see other people do it well and they're making money from it. But oftentimes those people that are making a lot of money from Patreon already have massive audiences. So if they put this much effort towards it, they could make an exponential amount off that initial effort. Whereas for me, if I wanted to make anything of substance from Patreon, I'd have to spend 10 plus hours on that thing a week. And I would rather be spending that 10 hours on making videos. And then I'd constantly have to be saying in my YouTube videos, I don't know why I'm holding this comb. I'd constantly have to be saying in my YouTube videos, hey, go to Patreon. And I don't want to say that in my YouTube videos for now. I might start one in the future. Who knows? But for now, I don't want to have to be pushing people somewhere else. If I push them somewhere, I'm hoping that they'll do it. If that makes sense. Yeah, Caleb, and I think I've even heard you talk about Patreon before in that way. And yeah, I think it works really well if you've got something special to offer. So for a while, what I tried to do is release my videos early to my email newsletter, but it's tough. It's tough to do that. I think YouTube works best when you allow people to stay on YouTube and just experience YouTube for what it is instead of constantly trying to get them to go other places. So that way, when you do have an ask, when you're like, hey, I've made this project, it costs you a little bit of money to watch it, but it'd mean a lot to me, people are more willing to do it. Or, hey, I've released this course, shows you how to kickstart your video production business. I think it'll be really helpful for you. You've kind of earned the right to do that. But if you're constantly like, subscribe to this, go to there, do this, donate to that, help me with this, click through my links. If you're using up asks, if that makes sense. The way I picture this relationship with people like you is you have a limited amount of things that you can ask them that they'll actually register and consider, that you will actually seriously consider. I make a video, you find it entertaining, and as a part of a reward from that, if I ask you, hey, maybe do this thing, there's a chance you might do it because you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I like the video. Maybe I'll do this thing. But if you are just blasting people with all these asks, like this video of my cat, subscribe to my wife on Instagram, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. When you actually have something that's important to you, it's really hard. You've used up your opportunities of inviting people to participate in what it is that you're excited about. I have no problem with people selling on YouTube if they've earned the trust. Like, it breaks my heart a little bit when people work on these things that people have asked them for and they let their YouTube audience know, hey, I've made this thing. I think it'll be helpful for you. It costs some money. And then there's just the freeloaders in the comments that are just like, oh my gosh, you're charging for something? This is so frustrating because it's like, you're loving their free stuff. Just keep loving the free stuff then. Don't give them a hard time for doing this as a profession and offering deeper value off something that people have to. And here's the other thing. People oftentimes won't utilize stuff that they get completely for free, which is another thing. They will, that's the interesting point you get into as someone who wants to help people get better. Like, for me, I want people to get better if they watch videos of mine that are educational. And the thing is, people value what they invested in. And so, yes, there's a certain level of value that people get out of just a straight free YouTube video. It's quick info and they value it and they get something out of it. But if you have 10 hours of free YouTube content that shows someone how to build an amazing business, the amount of people that will actually apply that advice because it's free actually isn't as big as you would expect. And that's the really interesting thing, that if you truly want this stuff to be impactful for people, oftentimes if they're going to go through like a 10-hour thing, they might not do it unless they have their own skin in the game. Again, now I'm sorry, I'm just ranting. But I've noticed this with myself. There's so much free stuff out there, and I often value stuff higher if I paid to do it. So I've paid hundreds of dollars to do online education stuff, and even hundreds of dollars isn't that much in the grand scheme of education. But if they offered it for free, the amount of free ebooks I have on my iPad that I'll probably never read, but I see the ebook out there on the internet. And I'm like, oh, hey, I should download that because it's free. And then I just never read it. Whereas most books that I pay for, I at least try to start, and then I decide if I'm going to keep reading. Sorry. Anyhow, so I think someone was asking about Gary Vee earlier. Yeah, I think he's a great voice in the world of online entrepreneurship, in the sense that he pushes for people to show up and create. I think that's what I appreciate about Gary's perspective. And he's kind of a no BS kind of guy. He doesn't let people get away with their own excuses, and I can appreciate that. His style of communicating isn't really my thing. So there's that. Fun. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I have so much fun doing this. I want to do more of it. I can't believe that there's been hundreds of you that have popped through just in this broadcast. Michael's asking, I hope this is a rebroadcast. I don't know. I think I kind of want to keep these live ones live because they're not terribly produced, and I want it to be one of those things that if people show up, then they show up, and if they don't, they don't. It's kind of one of those things, but I don't know. I might, if you guys want to have a few more questions that you pop in, I'll happily answer them. Again, we're just hanging out in the studio tonight. It's a bit of a mess in here. For those that are just popping in on the end, it's been about 6 days since I put up a video, and I'm not cool with that. I've made it my goal to do about 3 videos a week this month, and I'm behind, and it's because I got sick. But my plan is to have a video out tomorrow. If you're freaking out, I'm sorry. And yes, I will make my data management video. I might make my next Tech Tuesday video something about this mic setup from Rode, just because I think it's pretty killer. Their new A1 audio interface is pretty awesome. This is fun. I love this. This is so good. Caleb, what interface are you using to get your HDMI into your live rig? Are you using one of those HDMI to USB adapters? I know that Blackmagic makes a USB to Thunderbolt one. Yeah. And are you using OBS as well? That's what I've been using on this. I guess I didn't really ever, I never really dove into this edit as I promised I would. Yeah. This is just, I got to check out the coolest van conversion company down in Bellingham. Really awesome people. Maybe I'll hit play on this. Am I muted? Perfect. Yeah, so this is a van conversion company that I got to go visit down in Bellingham. And it was so much fun just hanging out and filming them doing their thing. They make some incredible builds. Avio. Okay, that's the one. The BM stuff is good too. Yeah, the BM stuff's just a touch expensive. Like the Thunderbolt to HDMI thing was well over $100, I think. At least Canadian it was, so I haven't bought it yet. Yeah, OBS. That's the one. Wirecast. I think I was using the Wirecast demo for a bit. It's just so expensive. But yeah, this is some footage from the shop that I was checking out. I've been loving Final Cut. I know you guys have been asking for a Premiere to Final Cut video. I'll make that at some point. Again, there's just a lot of stuff on the slate. There's a lot of stuff, guys. Jeez, I keep coughing like because I'm sick, you know. Caleb, you should get a van, man. I just bought a used one. which is a touch risky because the mechanic stuff, but there's more and more used domestic vans hitting the market. Like the Ford Transits have now been on North America for a while, so you can find some of them used if you don't want to go the whole Sprinter van route. But oh man, I love vans so much. This wooden interior of a 4x4. Let me show you the exterior of this for those that weren't around at the beginning. Here's solar panels on the roof. I think I show it here. Oh geez, I'm just moving way too quick. Sorry. So this beautiful, massive solar panel on top. That's what I want to do to my build. Have I tried editing in Resolve? I have. Yes, and I've done color grading in Resolve. Resolve is fine. It's great software. The reason why I wanted to give Final Cut Pro 10 a shot is because the way that it manages the timeline is super efficient. And I have been hearing that it's efficient, and the way that you can manage your projects is just different than what most of the editors are offering. And that's why I wanted to give Final Cut a good, solid chance. So I have been, and I've been really enjoying it. I'm going to try to edit my documentary work in Final Cut as well. The Slack Life series. I'll talk more about the Slack Life series in a bit, guys. Like probably in the coming month, I'll address it more because I've been working on it. But this 4x4 is so gorgeous. Those aren't the tires that are going to stay on it. I don't know what they're going to put on. Probably 33-inch, probably like BFG KO2s or something like that. But I wish I had the money to spend on a 4x4. But Jason at Everlanders, have you been enjoying Resolve? Like, it's fantastic software in the sense that, I mean, I think they offer it for free. So it's kind of a no-brainer for people starting out. But I wanted to use Final Cut for laptop work on the road and also truly give it a shot because I know the guys that love it really love it. But yeah, I think I should take off. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep around. I'll like, if you want me to stay, I'll stay. We can keep chatting. I've got no problem with that. But I just feel like I've been live now for almost an hour. So no, it's definitely been over an hour. Have you already talked where you'd get music for your videos? Do you use different sources for YouTube's versus paid client? For my YouTube stuff, I use Epidemic Sound and Artlist. Those are kind of the two main ones that most people use. The downside is you hear the music everywhere. You hear it in almost everyone's YouTube videos, which is real tough. It's hard to find unique tracks there. But it's also hard to find tracks in general. So I use Epidemic Sound and Artlist. For client work, I'll use MusicBed because they tend to have songs that are a touch more quality in the sense that they're more singer-songwriter-esque. So they've kind of got that more organic vibe going on. Organic, I don't know if that's the correct musical term. But will you do a Premiere, Resolve, and Final Cut comparison? Nope, I won't. I'll leave that for other people. I think editing software comes down to using what you want to use. So I won't do a video like that. I will do a video transitioning from Premiere to Final Cut because a lot of you have found me from some of my Final Cut tutorial, from some of my Premiere tutorials, and they want to know why I switched over. So I might do that video, but I don't think I'll do a comparison video. I'm not that detail oriented in that sense. There's just people that would make a better version than that. I have heard rumors about YouTubers getting a boost at 10K subs, and I'm getting close. Just wondering if you've seen a boost. What do you mean by a boost? I'm confused at times where momentum comes from. Like sometimes YouTube just hands me more viewers and I don't know why. And I don't know what got me the favor of the YouTube gods as they will. Sometimes it's just shocking that a video will do as well as it does when I sometimes think that a video might do really well and then it doesn't. Yeah. This is something that I bought recently. I'll show you this. I've been doing more and more presentations, and I bought this Logitech presenter remote, which is super killer. It does this fun feature. Maybe I can actually show it on my monitor here. Boost in views. I didn't specifically notice a change at 10,000 if that's what you're asking. No. Oh, I got to turn on the app. Of anything, what's the app called? Spotlight, Logitech. what's the flipping thing called? Oh, geez, what have I done? I think this should work. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Can you guys see this? Oh, geez, I got a cough. Oh, no. Okay, so this cool remote does this thing where it's like a laser pointer on your screen. So during presentations, you can be like, yo, what's up? You can move it around. And that's using this thing right here. So basically when I turn it on, it does it, and then it allows me to use the mouse to click in places too. If I wanted to click right there, I could click. This is a Logitech Spotlight. Yeah, and Jason, that's what I've found with certain videos. It's okay, so I mean, there is some not guaranteed. I don't want to sound like a clickbaity marketing guy. There's some I've known at different times, like, okay, this video is going to do well, because part of the reason why a video will do well on YouTube is that people are actually looking for that type of content. Van videos do so well because people watch van content all the time. And what they do when they watch van content is they watch another one and another one and another one. So if I put out, you guys watch, we'll see if this works. This will be a fun experiment. I'm guessing this video right here, this 4x4 Sprinter van tour video that I'm working on, I'm guessing it's going to average between 80 and 150,000 views. That's my guess. Whereas my average currently on a video that isn't, so in my head, there's two types of videos that I make. There's one type of video that I know will reach people outside of my current sphere of people that are aware of who I am. So all of you, you're subscribed maybe, and if I post a video and it's something that's remotely interesting to you, you might watch it. And right now, my current average for that type of video is around 5,000 views. But if I post a video that the other type is, it will have an appeal outside of my group of people. Example, something that's a tutorial or something that's around van life that might show up in suggested videos for other people. So there's videos that will only do well for my audience that exists already. And then there's videos that will reach people because they might be watching another video, it'll pop up and they'll want to watch that one too. So for example, Jason, he made this Raspberry Pi video on how he was using Android for automotive stuff inside his vehicle. And that one probably performed better than some of his other stuff because for some reason there was a gap that needed to be filled in the suggested videos for Raspberry Pi stuff. And so people that were watching Raspberry Pi for automotive, his video would get chucked in there. People would click it and YouTube would notice that people would click it and they'd serve it to more and more people. That's from what I understand of how it works is YouTube will sometimes test a video in the suggested section and then people click, and if they watch another video afterwards, doesn't matter who it's from, YouTube will reward that. So if I release a video about van stuff and it gets put in the suggested section and people click on it, and then after clicking it, they watch a part of it, and after watching a part of it, they watch another video, YouTube likes that. So those kinds of videos always will perform way better than your target group of people that you're currently with. And I would say a majority of my videos are mostly videos that are just for the people that are currently aware of who I am, because the ones that reach other people take time to make sometimes, and it takes a different way of thinking about the way you pitch your video as far as what the title and the thumbnail and the content is. That's why there's so many vloggers that when they make a vlog, they chuck an education piece in there so that way they can make the concept of the video how to my favorite lenses. And it'll be a vlog, and then at some point in the vlog, they'll talk about lenses. Now, I don't inherently have a problem with this, but if that video is gonna bring new people in, you want them to appreciate it when you don't want them to feel like they got bamboozled by, oh, I thought I was watching this, but then I got that. And if I feel like a video I'm putting out might bamboozle people where I want to make the title and the thumbnail about one piece of content in it, but I know that piece is later in, what I've been trying to do now is at least make sure there's timestamps, just so that way someone doesn't click and get misled and feel really annoyed by it. But there's again, I've been trying to make more videos this year that have the potential to reach outside of my current sphere of people that are interested. So if I made a video tomorrow being like studio update, probably just my audience would watch. And from my audience, it'd be a fraction, the average of people that would watch. So at this period of time, it's around 5,000. It's hard to gauge because it's been growing. But if I made a video that was, for instance, what would be an example? This video right here, like 4x4 Sprinter Van Tour. I'm going to make that video about the tour of the 4x4 Sprinter Van, and we can watch. We can touch in a week from now. How did this video do? My hunch is that it'll do 80 to 150,000. That's my hunch. Oftentimes, my hunch is semi-accurate. Sometimes I think something will take off and it doesn't, and that's frustrating. But I'll know, like, hey, a desk video, there's a chance it won't take off. But I'm hoping that it could. There's always the hope. I didn't know the Final Cut Pro 10 video would take off as much as it did. And some people come into the comments and they're a little bit, they give me a hard time for making the reason for switching an upload feature to YouTube. But if they give me a hard time about that, I know they didn't really watch the whole video, because I say in the video, this is the reason that finally made me try it. And there's lots of reasons why I'm staying. But anyhow, I've got no complaints. Yeah. It's fun when a video takes off. It's so fun. It's just like, whoa, it's reaching more people. And it's such a fun process. More questions? This desk back here is, it's a bit of a mess. I usually have my computer the direction that it is when I'm editing during the day. And then my backdrop is, I've got my backdrop over here. We can rotate the desk because it's on wheels, guys. Ooh. That's the backdrop over there, if you can see it. That way. I bought a new MacBook with Final Cut, Canon 70D, and Zoom H6. Advice for starting my channel, Blue Lava. So my advice for starting a channel, I don't recommend starting with vlogs. That seems to be the theme of what most people start with. And even the guys like, even Gary Vee. No problem with Gary Vee. Well, I've got a few problems with Gary Vee. That's actually not true at all. But he says, like, document, don't create. I kind of disagree with that. Okay, good night, Jason. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. I don't know if Kara. Dang it. How do you pronounce it, Jason? Kara. It's probably Kara. It was spelled Kara. Anyway, if you're both watching, thanks. Anyhow, the fun. Yeah, Gary Vee's like, document, don't create. I think if you're starting a YouTube channel, you should make videos that you watch. So for me, when I started focusing on YouTube and trying to grow it back 3 years ago, I made some tutorials that I wish I had when I started. And that's what I did. That to me seems like the quickest way to start having fun on YouTube is make tutorials or education of some kind, because people will search, they will find, they will watch, you will get better. And it's CARA. And then they'll if you just make a vlog like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what she did, the chance of people watching that are so slim. So I do not recommend starting with vlogs. That's my recommendation. I recommend making the types of videos that you wanted to watch. And sometimes there's obviously exceptions to this. If you are incredibly entertaining, you're going to be able to build an audience no matter what you do. I'm not one of those people that's inherently super entertaining. So I've got to do some education thing. I've got to provide something. Anyhow. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what Antoine is saying. No for SEO and getting suggested by the deep learning algorithm. You create things that you want to watch, and if you're actually making things that you would like, hopefully people watch it all the way through. And if you want to make stuff that people will actually finish watching. That's kind of one of your goals to figure out, is how can I make something that someone would actually enjoy beginning to end? And I think the best place to I think one of the best things to focus on is the educational stuff, because YouTube becomes more fun when there's people watching. Like, no doubt. Yes, it was fun when a couple hundred people would watch the vlog, but it's way more fun when there's a couple hundred and there's 1,000. That's way more fun, because then there's people to interact with, and it doesn't feel like you're putting something out to crickets. People that try to tell you it's just as fun at 50 as it is as 100 and 500, it's not. It's way more fun when there's people to interact with. That's why you make a video. You make it for someone to experience. So if you're going to start a channel, make stuff that people will enjoy experiencing. For some reason, we forget that. We just make stuff that no one would want to watch. And I do that. I do that frequently. It's messed up. I don't know why I don't keep that in mind, that I should make stuff that someone would actually enjoy watching. Yep. Do you know the Inmis Media guys? Yeah, I do. I know RJ. RJ helped shoot Untethered, actually. I was actually going to hang out with RJ tomorrow and shoot a C200 video. And I don't think I'm going to. Sorry, RJ. I should text RJ. I'm sorry, RJ. My channel has responded well to a 360 video I made. Have you ever shot any, and do you think I should shoot more? I haven't shot a single 360 video. I honestly know almost nothing about it. Do you stay in touch with the Slackliners? Are you still pursuing the series? The Lions story was excellent, and I wish they would have or will go back to that. They want to. They probably will. I'll probably make a video about it. Yeah, Buck and Under. Have you guys been having a good experience trying to go full-time on YouTube as far as just making a lot more stuff? What have you guys found has responded best in those early days of starting a YouTube channel? For me, when I think back, I've been posting on this channel since about 2011. I would make a video and then I'd post it, but it wasn't until about 2015 that I was actually like, okay, I want to post regularly. And some of the videos I made first were tutorials, and those did really well. Those are maybe some of the Premiere Pro videos that you guys have seen and found me through, actually. And I wish I had done more videos that were kind of in that vein. Yes, the Slack Life series is going to be released at some point this year. Who are your favorite YouTubers as friends? I don't have tons of YouTubers that I'm close friends with, to be honest. There's some... I've been trying to get more integrated into the community of people that make things for the internet, just because it can honestly be a little bit of a lonely place sometimes. It can feel like you're just scrapping away, and it's hard to feel motivated sometimes. And last year, I actually met some people. I started to meet some people that are trying to do this as well, and that was really encouraging. I mean, even just meeting friends like my buddy Dylan McGaster, that was just great to actually meet him in person, because I mean, he's someone that yeah, I don't know if that's answering your question. Yeah, the shock mount's great. This is pretty brilliant. Obviously, you heard what I just did there. But this is the Rode NT1. It's kind of all... Oh, geez. Now you're hearing all that handling noise. I just readjust it. You've just heard all that handling noise. My bad. Yeah. Ben, what's up? Dude, it's so dope to see you doing so well. Miss doing Quanos with you. Yeah, man. Ben, Quanos was the best. This is a summer camp that exists on Vancouver Island that I did a bunch of time at. And I miss it. That's where what's over my shoulder? That's actually a light dome. So that goes on a light. Okay. Sorry, I'm so ADD right now. Yeah, it's been good. Been getting good feedback. This is Buck and Under. This year they've been going full-time on YouTube. And our last video performed better than any of the others. Excited with the growth, even though we are still small. Yeah. There's obviously some other things that you can do to grow your channel. Getting to the stage where you could do collaborators with YouTubers that are at like the same level as you is really helpful. It's hard to do collaborations with channels that are much bigger than you, because you haven't proven the type of videos that you can make. So sometimes that works out, But it's also just best to collaborate with people that are at the same place as you, because then you can grow together, and that's a lot of fun. Yeah. Anyhow, I don't know why I just went on that little rant. Audio quality is awesome. That's good to hear. Is that a pun? I'm sure that's a pun. Just found your channel. Yeah. I think things are going okay. I'm trying to make the transition from primarily making videos for clients to making things online for people like you guys. Anyhow, you need to work with Travel Fields and Peter McKinnon. You guys would click so well. I'm sure we would. I mean, Maddie seems like a great guy, and I had to hold back my jealousy as Peter and Maddie kind of exploded last year, and I was left with my pants down, just making videos that not many people cared about. They just did such a good job of making stuff that people were actually interested in. So it was fun watching how fast they blew up. I don't know if they would consider doing something with me right now, because so much of that YouTube collab thing, there's no doubt that if I did a video with Peter, I would benefit from it greatly. There's no doubt. So that's the interesting thing, that when channels are 5, 10, 20 times bigger than you, it's one of those interesting things that it's hard to get around the numbers side, where if I approach them, it would seem pretty obvious what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get access to their audience. That's what it would seem like in their shoes. And so I would hope, if there ever came a time where we were to do something in the same space or do something together, I would hope it'd be from a level of like, hey, I kind of respect what you're doing and you respect what I'm doing. Let's do something. And that's what I see when Peter does videos with people that are much smaller than he is. When he had Jesse Driftwood on his channel and was like, yo, man, show us how you're doing these daily stories. I mean, Jesse Driftwood at that time, I think, had 10,000 Instagram followers or something. And there's no hiding from the fact that there's a multiplication factor when Peter's people saw the video. And that's great. That's a cool thing. That's an awesome part about collaborations. But what that means is I can't just reach out to Peter unless I've got like a great reason to, if that makes sense. Unless there's, I don't know how best to put that word. It sounds like it's making sense. Basically, at this point, a collab would be way better for me than it would be for Peter. So there's not something unique that I could offer, I think, yet. Maybe there is. Like if we did something like outdoor related that I could, I don't know. Anyhow. Yeah, sorry, I'm distracted from the chat, but Caleb, I'd love to do a collab with you, man. That'd be a lot of fun. I wish I could come down to NAB and we could do something together of any kind. Right. And so I guess, so Buck and understand you are on the same level of them, man. They are just different, all great content. I would agree. Like I would agree that I'm a person creating stuff and they are people creating stuff. So I don't necessarily see them as people like their value in world is higher in the sense that they're at this unattainable place that I'm not at. That's not exactly how I perceive that. But what I do know is purely from the process of building a YouTube channel, they've built theirs better. So if I were to do something with them, there would be a benefit to me for doing that. And I would like to do something with them. Of course, Maddie and Peter seem like great dudes, but I would like it to come out of a place where they are more aware of what I'm doing first, if that makes sense. I would like them to respect. That's such a terrible word to use there. I would like them to maybe appreciate what I'm doing before I come at them and like, yo, what's up? I don't know. Tom's got a head. Would you enjoy doing more jobs such as you did for Pure Living for Life? Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I'd do more like that. Earlier, you talked about upping your webcam. I recently saw someone who hooked up their GH4. Yes, that's what I planned. That's what I'll do. I'm going to hook up my GH5 and I'll have a better live streaming setup. I've been nervous about my internet speeds because I'm on that Canadian internet. But what company do I use for merch? I use the Printful. Do I use ND filters? Yes. Your vids are a continuous story, which are different. And I think we all feel a part of them, which is in a way very different, different and better. Thanks. I appreciate that. I acknowledge that I've been trying to, at least in the past 4 months, step more into what my style will be. I feel like my first 2 years of making videos on YouTube regularly, I was just getting over the process of building up the muscles of creating regularly. It took so much work to put the camera on a tripod and film myself. It just took so much effort, and each step of the video creating process all took effort. And editing it took effort. But now I've kind of built up those muscles where I can pump out a video in a day and I'll be relatively happy with it. And so my efforts are no longer just trying to get the courage together to put a camera on myself. Now my efforts are more thinking about, okay, how can I make sure this video is actually truly helpful for someone or is a good experience watching it? And I think my content, but the videos that I've been making, I think have been a lot better for it. And arguably, it would be better to start the other way around, where I put more thought towards the content and less thought towards the building a video muscle. But the challenge is I'm building a video production company, so I spend a lot of my mental energy on doing great videos for clients, and so I was using the energy that was left over on how do I get comfortable in front of the camera. And I think I've gotten there, and where I want to go next is making videos that I've thought about what the content of the video is in a better, different way, where I'm editing it a little bit snappier and the content is more well presented. Yeah. Hopefully you've noticed that. I don't know. Yeah, hopefully you've noticed that I've been putting a little bit more effort in towards the content. Get a Mevo? What's a Mevo? I don't know. I don't use Adobe. Can I realistically get similar results? Yes. And that's the thing with video editing, is it's mainly just shortening clips, putting them in order, and adding a song. So you can make a great video in any editing software. Would you consider doing a summer internship thing? Not right now. I need a better space to do that. A lot of my work is so spontaneous and random that if I did a summer internship, it'd have to be someone that's local-ish and is willing to do some work from their own place. Because so much of what I do is spontaneous. It's really hard to work alongside other people because of that. I'm really impressed with what Peter has done on YouTube. And I think Peter's one of those guys, and I've watched a few interviews with him in the past couple of weeks where I think I've gotten a deeper insight to his start. But I get the sense that Peter's one of those guys that for a couple years he's been watching what's happening on YouTube. You know, he's been keeping an eye on how people have been building an audience on YouTube. And Peter strikes me as one of those guys that when watching people do that, he's had a sense, I could do that too, and I could do it my way and do it really well. I'm assuming that's probably what Peter was thinking as he watched some of these people build YouTube audiences. And he's one of those unique guys where he had the skill set built up before coming to YouTube, where for his job, he was doing video production stuff. He was making these really creative photo and video pieces for his job, and he was helping position content for online consumption. And he was already thinking and building that thought process of how could I make stuff that's interesting for people. And then when he came out on YouTube just hard last year in January, he just made sure to be making stuff that people actually wanted to watch. And it was a shareable video. And the pitch, the thumbnail and the title made you go, huh, I wonder what that video's about. And he had a few vlogs that came out in the beginning, but geez, there were some really good videos that he put out in those first months on YouTube. And he put in the work to make sure that websites would feature it. He put in the work. And I go, man, why didn't I send a bunch of my videos to websites to feature? Because I knew a bunch of those videos that I was making weren't featureable. They just weren't worth them sharing. And that's the biggest difference. He was making stuff that was actually share worthy because the content pitch, and I'm using that phrase. I need to find a better phrase for that. But basically what the video is was a title and a thumbnail and a delivery on the thumbnail and the title. Like the thumbnail and the title would make you go, hey, I should watch this. And then upon watching it, you would get what you thought was in that. And that what the result of that is people who watch the video from beginning to end, all things which YouTube appreciates. And he just did great. What's Peter's channel's name? If you just look up Peter McKinnon. Just started watching you a month or so ago. Love your stuff. Thanks for sharing. Great to have you, Moment. Thank you. Where did your channel name come from? What's the story? I came up with the name in high school. My go-to studio mic is this one, or the NTG3. They're both really brilliant mics. Where did my name come from? It started in high school. I wanted to name my company something, and I tried to find a bunch of different names I could use, and all of them were taken. And then I was like, I should do something that doesn't just sound like super production only. Like the ultimate video production company. Like that's an example of something that I wouldn't do. And I was like, what's a name I could choose that I could build into something one day? And yeah, I knew a few companies that used. Sorry, I just got really distracted. Left Coast came from the fact that I love the coastal culture of British Columbia. I love trees. I love waves. I love oceans. I love bears. And I wanted to find a name that could represent that. So I went with Left Coast Visuals at first. And then I noticed people had a hard time pronouncing that out loud. When they would say Left Coast Visuals, they would stumble on their words a little bit. And at that time, Red Bull Media House was really blowing up. So I changed Visuals to Media House. Yeah, his Camera Hacks video blew up and he immediately did follow it. But one of the things that he did with that video is I think he said he sent out about 100 emails for blogs to feature it. And that's the thing. It was a featureable video. Like blogs want to share it because it'll get them clicks and their audience will like it and they'll get more ad clicks and whatever. So blogs obviously want content that people are going to click on. Unfortunately, some blogs have degraded in their quality, but when something like a Peter video comes along, like they're like stoked on it because it's just great content. Yeah, and he immediately followed it with other videos. Immediately. Man, Peter did a good job with that. He left me with my pants down because I, again, said at that time in my head, the world doesn't have room for another person like Casey Neistat, where the story in the video is the making of the video. I just didn't think the world needed more of that. And so many people would comment on vloggers and just be like, oh, you're trying to be like Casey. And I saw that happening and I was just like, I don't know if the world actually needs another. But in reality, he came back at a time where it kind of worked out perfectly, where a lot of people were going through a Casey withdrawal and Peter came and did it different enough that he was his own entity and people loved it and they dug it and he did a good job. And he made me feel like I was completely wrong, which I was. I said there wasn't space in the YouTube world for someone like Peter. And in the period of a year, Casey and Maddie both crushed it and left me feeling like a goofball. And the truth is they're just making the pitches of that concept of what the video is. They're so good at that. Yeah. Yep. Searchable videos, shareable content, high value, deliver on the concept. Thought I'd pop in and say hi late on the East Coast. Dang, that is late. Wow. Thanks for stopping in. I'm glad that you guys think Left Coast works out. I'm happy with it. I've shortened the name from having a space. When I originally started, it was Left Space Coast Space Visuals. And I just compacted Left Coast to be its own just like phrase. So now the main push behind the brand is just it's Left Coast. Hopefully you like that. Yeah, the good news is competition is great for all of us. Peter is being in more eyes than ever for the rest of us. Peter is being in more eyes than ever for the rest of us. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what that last section of the sentence means, but I would totally agree. A rising tide raises all boats. If that's the right phrase. I would agree that that I think it's a fantastic thing when other people are doing quality work. And it pushes me to add more personal style into my own way of doing things. I want there to be a left coast way to making a YouTube video. There is no Casey withdrawal. Well, you better believe when Casey stopped posting daily, Sean Duras got quite a push of subscribers, and he even said it himself. He said a lot of people are coming over and subscribing because they're looking for that Casey guy, that guy that skateboards with Casey, and that was Sean Duras. So I mean, Sean Duras kind of crushed it as well, but he had already built up the chops as far as building audience with Snapchat. So I mean, he wasn't starting as much with a blank slate as someone like Peter and Maddie did. Have you considered going to a university for a business degree? I considered it in the past. Definitely would never consider doing it right now. I'd consider doing further education in different ways, but I'm not going to sit down and do a degree right now. Right, bringing in more views. Yeah, I think the more people that are getting stoked on making videos, the more people that will end up watching some of my videos that I'm trying to share the stoke for making videos. So that's a great thing. Okay, I think I should end it here. I'm having so much fun. Thank you for hanging out, everyone. I feel like you all need an applause for tuning in. I'll be doing more videos that are live like this. This is probably my 5th or 6th one. I often do them and then I just remove them. It's kind of one of those things that you show up and you appreciate it, or you're not here for it. That's going to be the style that I'm doing them for now. Do I batch my YouTube video work? No. I batch my YouTube content ideas, but I don't batch the work. That's something that I could do more of. But right now I'm sitting on several videos that I could edit. So I guess. Oh, wow. There's so many questions. Okay. If you're going to Hawaii, assuming that every pro lens available, would you bring a GH5S or only full frame? If I was doing stills, I'd bring a full frame. If I was doing video, I'd bring a GH5. GH5, not S. Because if I'm doing handheld work, I want that dual image stabilization. Okay. Peace, y'all. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do this again soon. And just remember, go out and make stuff. I want to do a live stream coming up soon where I just try to motivate the crap out of you to go make something awesome soon. I just am discouraged when people feel like they need all the right gear and all the right tools, when in reality they often just need a kick in the butt to just go make something. Okay. Take care, y'all. Catch you in the next live stream. I'll have a video up tomorrow. Hopefully it does well.